And joining on the line, it's great to be chatting to her again, and I'm looking forward to this conversation. We've got Rachel Whitchurch on the line. G'day, Rachel. How are you today?
I'm great, Clayton. Thanks for having me back on the show again.
You're always welcome, and you must be smiling after the success of your album. It's finally out.
It is. It came out on the 16th of April, and it feels like, we've been working towards this for so long. We had it recorded, back in December of 2019, and so it's well and truly been done for a while. But, we obviously couldn't tour, and so we didn't want to release it till we could tour it. And so anyway, we finally got it out, and it's done really well on the charts, which is, so nice for us as well.
So how did it feel when it went to number one? And then these other blokes by the name of, Adam Harvey, who you know pretty well, and Keith Urban, they were lower down than you. So how did that feel? Yeah,
it was pretty surreal. So I went to number one on the ARIA chart, so for the highest selling Australian country album for its debut, launch week, which is great. And I think that's just like a testament, to the people that have supported me, because that's, that the ARIA chart is based on sales, right? And I think that's, one that was important to me, because so many of these charts and things are really just based on, someone's opinion. But, this is based on the opinion of the fans, right? The people who go out and buy your record. And so we had our fingers crossed that we might, get a top 10, if we were lucky. And so when my label called me to tell me that it had gone to number one, we were very shocked and more than happy. So you can't get better than one, can you? So that's the top spot.
Tell me, did you have a bit of a cry?
Do you know what? I actually, when my label rang me, I'd just woken up and I'd answered my phone, and I thought he was having a joke with me. I was a bit delirious. And so I actually went into a little bit of shock, and then I got off the phone and told my husband. And so I didn't have a cry then, but there's a very funny video on my Instagram that my husband filmed from the week before that, where we went hunting in a JB Hi-Fi to see it, because I found out that JB Hi-Fi and Sanity were going to take the record and distribute it all across Australia. And so we went in and we thought we'd have a little look around on the launch day, which is on the 16th of April, and we were in Toowoomba on tour with Adam Harvey. And so my husband filmed me, and I was like, it's probably not going to be here. It's going to be a big letdown. And anyway, after a bit of searching in the country section, we found it in there. And initially I was happy and laughing, and then very suddenly it just turned to tears, because I was just so overwhelmed. And I think it's something about holding that physical copy, right, in a record store and looking at it that's really overwhelming.
I can understand that. And when it gets you, because you've put so much into it, and to see it and that, it becomes very real. And I can understand that and appreciate that. So what was it like? You're touring with Adam Harvey, and you held him off, you knocked him off. Did it make touring uncomfortable with him? Was he like a bear with a sore head?
I feel like I need to, be clear that, that was my launch week, so that was my number one week of the album coming out. Adam's album has been in the charts, for months, and so he's still in the top 10 after months and months. And so it wasn't, I don't think I would have been able to knock him off if it was his very first week. And so, but he was so supportive and so happy for me when I told him. And he's been so great taking me out on the road. And I think there's so many great Australian artists, Australian country artists, and one thing that they all seem to do is really support, the next generation of country artists. And I think that's a really, big testament to the culture of, the Australian country music industry. But, they are very supportive and want to help, the next wave of artists. And so it feels good to be able to be out there and be playing to his crowd every night, and he's been great. So I'm very lucky.
Did he get you up on stage and have a talk about the album and, do a few tracks together from it? Or I'm just trying to think, he would have on tour with you, you've been touring with him for a while, so you know each other pretty well, and I'm sure he would have been excited for you, and he must have just got you up on stage and did a bit of a song and dance about it.
Well, I open up the show, and so I do a 40-minute set at the beginning of the show, and so I play a bunch, all my new songs off my album, and he introduces me, and it's really lovely. And so he did say something about, that when he introduced me on stage for my set, but then we always get up and we do a duet together at the end of the set as well, which is really nice. Yeah. And so, and he posted about it on his social media as well. So yeah, he definitely was, very kind and shared that with the crowd.
Oh, that's good on him, yeah, and we enjoy Adam. He's a good friend of the station here, so, I'm glad he's looking after you. What did your kids think?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think they're pretty sick of hearing me sing, if I'm completely honest with you. No, it's funny. My son, they're just, because they're only 2 and 4, right? My 4-year-old son probably grasps, they both understand that we play music and they get it and they see the album. But my son did this Mother's Day little card thing for me with 20 questions in it about your mum. And it was like, what does your mum do? What is your mum's job? And he was like, in things he'd written, she's a singer. And then they're like, what is your mum good at? And he was like, good at practicing songs. But then my personal favourite was, what does your mum do to relax? And he'd written, she gets on her bed. And I was like, that is true. I do like to get on my bed quite a lot. And I never understood all these years of my mum telling me when I was a kid she just wanted to lie down for 5 minutes. I was thinking, she was always lying down all the time. Now that I'm a mum, I'm like, it's my favourite thing to do, just to lie down for a bit.
And you need it too, yeah.
Exactly. Yes. No, it is hard. Well, they're great kids, and they've been on the road with us a bunch, and we haven't taken them on this Harvey tour yet, but they've been on the road for a bunch of shows, and they're really good at travelling and adapting to new places and new accommodation and things like that. And we're actually taking them out in a couple of weeks for their first bit of this year, and so excited to have them out on the road again.
Just be careful with Adam, because he might get them into that Bundy stuff, and then you're going to be in trouble.
I know. Well, we're not taking him on the Adam Harvey tour. We're doing a couple of runs with Fanny Lumsden. We thought that was a bit more family friendly.
Exactly. Well, Rachel, the album's called Finally Clear, and I've got a copy. It arrived today. I have to be honest, it arrived today just in perfect time for our little chat here. So I'm looking forward to checking the entire album out, because I know with our previous conversations last year we talked about it, and I know how excited you were to get it out there. But before it's all come out, there was a bit of doubts whether this music career is for you. So I want to know, how did you overcome those doubts and get your way through? Because that's something we all go through in life. We have doubts and struggles about something that's we really want to do, but then we make that leap. So how did you make that leap?
Yeah, I think for me anyway, I don't think doubts and fears ever really go away. I think they're probably a normal part of being a human, and definitely, you sometimes, you're proven wrong, and, it's easier to believe in yourself. But I think that it's not so much getting over the doubts and fears, but just, being comfortable with having them there, and I think that's something I've probably gotten a lot more comfortable with, is just knowing that, part of being an artist and part of, being creative and putting yourself out there is you are going to be, worried about how things are going to work out and whether they are going to work out. And so for me, it was just a matter of, deciding that, okay, I'm not sure how this is going to go, but I'm going to give it a go. And that was what I decided. And so it wasn't that I suddenly woke up one day and was like, I feel very confident, I believe in myself. It was more of a fact of like, I don't feel very confident, and I'm not sure if I believe in myself. But having kids, I say this often, but having kids was really a catalyst for me, because I realised that I couldn't be, constantly, preaching to my kids about, just try, it's okay to fail, give it a go, be brave, be strong, and, do what makes you happy. But meanwhile, like me sit back and be petrified of, failing at this music thing. And so it really made me stop and, think about what I was doing. And that was kind of, the catalyst for me deciding that, no, I am going to give it a crack, and I am going to give it a go. And in a way, what happened after we released the album, obviously is important, but wasn't important for that part of it, if that makes sense, because the hard part for me was, actually giving it a go, making the investment and giving it a crack. And we did it, we put it out, and lo and behold, went to number one. So, so far so good, and fingers crossed that, people keep connecting with the record and the message, of the record, and hopefully it can help other people, be brave enough to take, their own risks and their own chances in their life.
And we need to do that. And I remember my dad, my late father, he said to me that if you try something and fail, you haven't failed, son. All you've gained is experience. And
yes, exactly.
And so I've kind of lived a bit like that have a go. If it fails, well, I've just gained some experience. I know how not to do it now. So I think you've got to have that positive spin on it. I think that's really important. And
I think that's the thing of, wasn't it, like, I think it was Einstein, right, or someone like, I can't remember who it is. Actually, I don't think it was Einstein, but, someone iconic who was, the guy who made the light bulb. Was that Thomas Edison?
Yeah, Thomas Edison, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, I didn't fail. I just found, 555 ways not to make a light bulb, or whatever it was, so I think that's the idea, right, is that you're trying to figure out how to do something, and so you're on your journey to doing that.
Rachel, you've got the album out. Are you going to be doing some shows, down our way where we might be able to get to see you? Because I'm sure lots of folks are going to want to see you live, whether you're part with Adam or not with Adam, doing your own thing. So, what's sort of the plan for the rest of the year?
Yeah, so we just had a weekend of shows down in SA just a couple of weeks ago with Adam, but I am planning on coming back later this year, once this tour kind of slows down a little bit, and then I'll be doing my own headline tour down there, and I have a bunch of friends and fans down in South Australia, and I've been wanting to get down there to do my own show, and so I will definitely let you know when we're down there. I'd say it will be likely in November, though, so still a while away, but yeah, we want to come down and say hello to everyone down there because it's a great part of the world. We were actually just down in, where was it? In Manham just the other day. And man, it's beautiful down there. It's just amazing. We were at the Pretoria Hotel and it was on the water. And it was just so beautiful and just made me, want to come back, every weekend if I could because it's so lovely down there. But yeah, we're definitely going to be back later this year.
I've just got to say this to you. Make sure you bring your guitar and come to our Flow studios. Which, as I said, it timed up perfectly because the video for your song Don't Be Afraid is playing on my screen here. And I thought, Rachel's got a guitar. You can bring it to our new Flow studios. So you're more than welcome.
I'd love to.
You're more than
I'll let you know when I'm heading down that way. Actually, I won't. I'll just rock up and I'll surprise you.
We've always got a kettle here and there'll be something in the fridge, so you'll be fine.
I love that.
It's a wine fridge, I should point out, but we'll worry about that later. Just quickly, tell me about the video. Where was all that filmed?
Yeah, so I filmed it in a suburb of Sydney called Ashfield, and so it's kind of like this old style, area of, Sydney where they've got these really old houses there. Yeah. But the owners of this house, like they'd, done a lot of renovations to bring it back to its original condition. And so it was massive. It was like a mansion. It had like a servants' quarters, and it was huge. I got lost looking around it, and we just used a couple of the rooms and kind of like the grounds of the yard and things like that. But it was just so beautiful, and I really wanted this song that we're about to play, Don't Be Afraid. I really wanted it to have kind of this like mystical feel of, the unknown. And that's kind of how that house felt, right? There was a whole lot of unknown. And even the decoration they had inside of the house, there's a lot to look at. And so it just felt like everywhere you looked, it was more like, more to discover and more that you didn't know. And that's kind of, I guess the message of this song in a way.
How very true. You're actually on the bed. I can see you playing the guitar on bed. So even your kids say you're on the bed all the time, and there you are.
I know. I'm always looking for a chance to lie down. That's even on my video clips. I'm like, let me lie down for a minute.
Oh, it is a great clip. It is a great clip. Well, Rachel, I love chatting to you, and hopefully we'll get to do it soon in our Flow studios. I really look forward to that opportunity. Your new album that went to number one, it's still out. It's called Finally Clear. It's available right now. We can get it, you said what, JB Hi-Fi and Sanity, but also from your website too, rachelwhitchurch.com. So make sure, folks, you do that. Rachel, thank you so much for spending time with us today on Flow. We love chatting to you. If you could please introduce your song for us.
I would love to do that, and thanks again for having me. All right, you're listening to Clayton on the Arvo Flow on Flow FM, and coming up next is my brand new single. I'm Rachel Whitchurch, and this is Don't Be Afraid.
Sun's coming up, the day has arrived, where new dreams are growing and broken hearts mend. We all have hopes that didn't work out, but nothing says we can't be hopeful again. So don't be afraid of what might become, and just take one step and your journey's begun. You know that perfect love drives out all fear. So don't be afraid, my dear. Run free, old men sit and smile. We both know the secret to life in a way, 'cause big moments once in a while. What matters most is what we do each day. So don't be afraid of what might become, and just take one step and your journey's begun. 'Cause you know that perfect love drives out all fear. So don't be afraid, my dear. You can stay safe and live with regret. What will you find if you take that first step? Don't be afraid of what might become. Just take one step and your journey's begun. You know that perfect love drives out all fear. So don't be afraid, don't be afraid, and don't be afraid.